Okay, if you guys can remember, in my last speech I talked about poverty in Louisville and how it's increasing and becoming more concentrated within the West Side. And some of the reasons for that were due to a poor economy, discrimination, and segregation. And if you guys can also remember, I asked you guys to complete a survey, and one of the questions I asked you guys was, what do you think would help to alleviate poverty within the West End? And the top 3 answers I received were more jobs, better education, and better transportation. I'm going to explore these solutions more in depth throughout the course of my speech tonight. All right, as I talked about last class, people who live in the West End don't work good jobs. They get low-wage jobs with no benefits. And this is mainly due to the fact that they don't get 4-year degrees. So maybe a solution for this might be to bring more service and industry jobs to the area, because these jobs pay decently well, and they also have benefits. When I was doing more research, I also found out that earlier last year, Kentucky improved tax incentives to bring more jobs to the Louisville area, and these jobs included like call centers, meat and packaging plants, and water recycling plants. And I found out that these jobs paid about $30,000 a year and also had benefits. So I feel like this is a good start. Another way to help alleviate poverty would be through education. In 2010, every house of the Kentucky legislature passed House Bill 176, and what this did was it gave the government more power within the public education system. It allowed the government to close or consolidate schools and to enlist specific reforms, and they could also replace the principal and half of the teaching staff if they felt that this was necessary. Another way to improve education would be through charter schooling. And according to WDRB News website, Kentucky is one of 8 schools without a charter school legislation. And what charter school does is it allows for the teachers to have more control within the school. They can change the length of a school day or even the school year, but with this power, they have to increase test scores drastically. Another way to also improve education would be through affordable private schooling. And throughout the course of my research, I actually found a school within the West End that was trying to make a difference. It was a K through 8th grade free private school, and it was funded through various individuals and different businesses. And I feel like the West End could definitely benefit from more schools like this, but I guess the issue just comes back to money and like where you would get it from. Another way to help decrease poverty would be through a better public transportation system. As you guys know, the public transportation system here is called the TARC, and I actually read it for the first time a couple months ago, and there were 2 things I noticed about it. It was kind of expensive. It was $175 to take a bus a few miles down Bardstown Road, and if you're going from like the west side of town to like the east side every single day, that type of money could really add up. And I also noticed that it was late. So that could have caused somebody to be late for work or for school. And another thing I did was I downloaded the TARC app on my phone just out of curiosity. I was looking at different routes to see where I could go. And I found out that from Bardstown Road, which I live really close to St. Matthew's Mall, which is about 7 or 8 miles away, would have taken 50 minutes with a half-a-mile walk. And I thought this is kind of ridiculous, just because it was 7 or 8 miles, which you can get to in a car in about 15 minutes, and then plus a half-a-mile walk. And for somebody who's disabled, this isn't really convenient. So a solution I came up with was possibly a subway system. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous and expensive, but I think it could actually work in Louisville. I visited Boston about 2 summers ago, and I took their subway system, which is called the T, every day for about 7 days, and I only paid $10 to take it, as much as I wanted to in the course of a week. I found out that I could get from one end of Boston to the other within 45 minutes, which is a reasonable amount of time. And there are cities even smaller than Louisville who have benefited from a subway system. When I was doing more research, I found on the TARC website that they're making an attempt to improve public transportation, and they're spending $30 million within the next 4 years. And what this is going to do is it's going to make the buses more environmentally friendly, and they're going to have route adjustments and more stops. But I think to really improve the problem, they would have to lower the price, and they would also have to get places in a good amount of time, not 45 minutes. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of people in the West End who have to go to jobs in the East End, and they're probably sitting on a bus for 4 hours every day, 2 there and 2 back, and that's just not reasonable. In conclusion, I found that a combination of more jobs, better education, and a better transportation system would really help the poverty problem in Louisville, especially within the West End. And I hope I've taught you guys a little bit more about poverty and some solutions for it within the course of my past 2 speeches.